The monorail zoomed past the sea of green trees, heading for a stop at the Grand Floridian Hotel. "This is pretty cool of you, Amanda," Finn said. He wore a Tampa Devil Rays baseball cap and a pair of his father's old sunglasses, which looked too big for his face. Some disguise. Amanda wore hip huggers and a shirt that exposed her belly button. "We're taking photographs?" she asked. "They're friends of mine, you see." "Sort of," then she confessed. "Not really." "No, not really. I don't know their full names, so I don't know how to find them. If I can get photographs of their DHIs and show them around, maybe some of the other schools, someone will recognize them. I'm not sure what else to do." "Word is, you're going psycho," Amanda said. "I wasn't about to get you mad at me." "I'm not stabbing girls in showers or anything." "That's a relief." Amanda allowed a hint of a smile that Finn knew she would rather not have revealed. It wasn't cool for a girl to show she liked a boy anymore, than the opposite. Boys and girls seemed to spend a lot of time and energy trying to convince one another that they didn't exist. Finn explained, "The problem is, if I'm going to visit the Magic Kingdom, my admission has to be pre-approved. That means telling my parents, and I can't exactly explain this to them." "You haven't exactly explained this to me. Listen, I don't mind using a couple of my family's comp tickets, Ben. If you're worried you owe me, you don't." "Cool. Is everything cool to you?" she asked. "What's with you and that word?" "You're cool," he said, looking right at her. "Where did that come from?" "Where did that come from?" She blushed and bit her lower lip to keep from grinning. She looked at the monorail's car window, as if she hadn't seen the Grand Floridian 100 times. "So why'd you agree to help me anyway?" he asked, coaxing her. The doors hissed shut. A recorded voice announced that the next stop was the Magic Kingdom. She glanced out the window, too. "Because I have my reasons. I want to help." She spoke to the glass. Then she looked directly at Finn and said, "Besides, I've never met a real psycho before." Very funny. I thought so. When she laughed, it reminded him of Belle's. He made a mental note to tell Dillard that. At the entrance to the Magic Kingdom, Amanda handled the complimentary tickets while Finn kept his head down as to not be recognized. A minute later, they were inside the main gate, passing the spot where the parents picked up and returned the rented baby strollers. Still looking at the pavement, Finn asked her, "Do you see any obvious security types?" "No. They don't all wear uniforms. They're pretty hard to spot." "Finn, you're not exactly one of the 10 most wanted or something. We're going to be fine." "Hey, there's a host over there," Amanda said. "It's not you," she announced. Finn looked over. A crowd gathered around a DHI. "That's Charlene," he said. "You ready?" "Yes." "Okay then, here goes." Amanda slinked over towards the crowd, then posed for a shot with Charlene as Finn raised his father's digital camera. Charlene looked perfectly real, absolutely real, until a kid walked through her. The DHI never stopped talking, never noticed that a kid was playing with her. "You've gone awfully quiet," Amanda said, a moment later as she rejoined Finn. "I've never seen that before. A kid walking through a DHI like that." "They shouldn't be allowed to do that," Amanda said. "It's disrespectful." It wasn't the actual act that bothered Finn, it was the concept. A hologram is nothing but light, a three-dimensional image. How could it become one by falling asleep? What was he thinking? "Do you believe in weird stuff?" Finn asked her. "Depends how weird, I suppose." "Real weird." "Try me." But at that moment, Amanda spotted another DHI and started towards it. Maybach. Finn's legs didn't move. He felt something odd, like something was watching him. He spun around. Main Street was crowded with people. Finn searched faces, his focus shifting. He stopped on a white-haired guy, an old guy, wearing a barbershop costume that made him look even older. Wayne! He was looking right at Finn, in the same way Finn's dad looked at him when Finn had done something wrong. Wayne signaled for Finn to look to his left. There, Finn saw 4 elder guys in a band uniforms, red jacket with brass buttons. It took him a second to realize they were headed right for him. "Security?" Finn turned to Amanda, who was posing with Maybach, expecting Finn to shoot the picture. He called out to her, "Trouble!" They discussed this possibility and reviewed various options. They had agreed that if they had to separate for any reason, they would try to meet up again at the exit of the Haunted Mansion. Amanda took off at a run without a second thought. Finn tucked his father's camera into his pocket and ducked into the Emporium. Made to look like an old-time general store, it sold everything Disney, including clothing, dolls, stuffed animals, CDs, and DVDs. It was packed wall-to-wall with shoppers. Finn hurried past several displays, deeper into the store. He passed shelves of princess costumes, a rack of hats and caps, a poster hung from the ceiling by the string, announcing the virtual Magic Kingdom. He stopped and used the mirror to watch the store windows behind him. There he saw a uniformed band musician enter the store. Coincidence? The band musician glanced to his right. Finn followed that line of sight to another band member. They exchanged a look, and then they turned and scanned the store. Finn felt sick with fear. He'd blown it, entering the park without proper authorization. His family would probably lose their comp tickets. He supposed his DHI might even be terminated. They were coming for him, quickly with great determination. Finn worked not to be seen. He'd found himself cornered in the hat section. "Hey," said a little boy, looking up at Finn in awe and wonder. "Are you him?" "Go away," Finn told the kid, not wanting to be bothered. "But it's you, right?" the little boy asked. He stepped closer, sucked in a chestful of air, closed his eyes, and marched right into Finn. Finn stumbled back, and the boy fell over. "Wow," the boy said, recovering and coming to his feet. "You are real." The little boy's attempt gave Finn an idea. The Emporium sold clothing. Finn spotted a rack of DHI merchandise, including the outfit that his own host character wore. He snagged a pair of loud purple shorts and a green surfing shirt and pulled them over his own shirt and shorts. He didn't like leaving his Devil Rays cap behind, but he saw little choice. He placed his sunglasses on an empty pocket of his own shorts. Two of the band members saw him and turned. Finn squeezed between them and ran. Several kids spotted him at once, shouting for autographs. They followed him. Parents played catch-up, hollering after the kids, "Stop! Get back here!" Finn led the children out on the sidewalk and onto Main Street. An alarm sounded loudly as Finn left the store in the clothing that he hadn't paid for. Anxious parents clogging the door, blocking the security guys. "Hey!" one of the kids shouted above all the others. "Check it out! 2 of them!" Finn glanced over, only to realize he was standing 20 feet from his own DHI. His host elf was surrounded by a pair of families answering questions. The 2 band musicians stumbled out onto the street. They looked back and forth from one Finn to the other. Which one was which? The real Finn pointed to the castle. He recited the memorized tour information recorded during the filmmaking at MGM Studios. The DHI Finn, the hologram not far away, mimicked the same moves and recited the same words from the same script. Unable to determine which Finn to pursue, the band members froze. The real Finn then moved his small group of followers up the street at the exact same pace of his DHI. The 2 were perfect duplicates of each other. Then, with enough distance between himself and the pursuer, Flynn slipped down a side path. He quickly shed the DHI Finn t-shirt and dumped it into the trash. He hopped out of the ugly shorts, slipped his sunglasses back on, and made off at a run, headed for the haunted mansion. 10 minutes later, Finn spotted Amanda waiting on a bench near the haunted mansion's exit as planned. A neat apron of lawns surrounded the towering brick Victorian-style structure. The paved area in front of the entrance was divided into chains and stanchions into 3 lanes, including one for holders of a fast pass. Parked against the mansion's front wall, equidistant between the entrance and the exit, stood a gleaming all-black horse-drawn hearse. Even the windows were all black. The harness hung in midair. The horse was invisible. Finn waited briefly before approaching Amanda, taking time to determine if either of them had been followed. "Hey, there you are," Amanda said. "I was spotted. I got away, just barely. Will they bust you?" "Not sure if they can without catching me first, without proving it's me." She glanced around. "So what now? How do we get out of the park without you being caught?" Finn hadn't thought this part through when forming their original plan. "I suppose they might watch the exit." "You think? Get a life. Of course they will." "There's a guy, an old guy. I think he might help, if I can find him." Finn spotted a pair of clean-cut men approaching the fast pass entrance, not 30 feet away, just on the other side of the hearse. He and Amanda moved a few feet to be screened from view. Finn said, "Okay, look over my shoulder. See those 2 tall guys in line? They've got wires in their ears, and I'll bet they're looking for me. And guess what? We're trapped." Amanda studied the 2. With Finn's back to them, at this distance, he was safe. He looked at the haunted mansion, then at the way the exit line converged towards the entrance line. The 2 separated by only a chain. "We can't leave through the exit line, not with them here. Well, not with them there." "I know. But they're pretty far back in the entrance line," she observed. Finn's skin was crawled. How to explain any of this to his parents? "So we're trapped. I already had that much figured out. But they're just standing there, waiting." "So?" Finn asked. "So, we've got to get them to move," she answered. "And how are we supposed to do that?" he asked sarcastically. "Call them on their radios and tell them they're wanted somewhere else?" Amanda's brow knit tightly, deep in thought. "They'll move if they see you." "What? Are you crazy?" "Shush," she cautioned him. "Come on." she said, taking him by the hand. He wasn't sure why, but he let her take charge. There was something about her confidence that reassured him. It felt almost as if she'd been through this kind of thing before. The way she stayed so calm, the way she studied the situation carefully. She led Finn quickly under a chain, behind the hearse, then between it, and a low brick retaining wall. She peered around the hearse, monitoring the 2 security guards. "When I say go, we go," she instructed. "Ah," Finn said, having second thoughts. Amanda watched. The line was moving along, but 2 security guys remained near the mansion's entrance. "Go," she hissed. Together they hurried into the open, ducked under a chain, and cut into the entrance line. A bunch of people moaned and groaned. A few only openly complained. But as the line surged, Amanda and Finn moved with it. Amanda was no giant, but she was an inch taller than Finn. She rose on her tiptoes, looked back, and warned, "Okay, here they come." She tightened her hold on Finn's hand. Together they moved with the line, which surged again. A few seconds later, they were inside the mansion. Amanda kept watch behind them. Finn and Amanda stepped into the stretching room, a hexagonal space 20 feet across. Portraits hung on the walls. Finn had just begun to feel safe when Amanda tensed. He looked back and saw the 2 security guys enter, the last 2 people in the stretching room before its doors closed. Amanda rose up. "Uh-oh," she said. "What?" "They're pushing their way over here." The stretching room, jam-packed with people, did not make the movement easy. A loud voice boomed over the speakers, welcoming the visitors to the mansion. It warned them not to lean against the walls. The lights dimmed. Finn didn't need to stand on his tiptoes to see the 2 blondes' head coming towards him. Amanda pulled Finn down onto the couch. Together they ducked and moved through the crowd. It seemed that the floor was beginning to sink. It looked and felt as if they were going down, down, in an elevator. The walls stretched. The ceiling receded above them. Even the oil painting stretched longer. "We're cooked," Finn said. "No," Amanda said, leading them. "We're okay." They reached a far wall. Finn glanced back. The 2 guys were still pushing through the crowd towards them. "You're dreaming." "We'll use the chicken door," she said. "The what?" "When I was something like 5 years old, I completely freaked out in here. Screamed my lungs out. Totally lost it." As she said this, the room's floor stopped moving. The painted portraits now stretched grotesquely. A dead man dangled from a noose attached to the ceiling. Some kids shrieked. Amanda continued. "My mom got me out without having to ride the doom buggies. It's called the chicken door." "Here they come," Finn cautioned in a whisper. But just as he said it, the crowd surged, pressing Finn against Amanda. "Perfect timing," she said, smiling. The 2 security guys stuck in the jam, still a few yards away. One of the wall panels opened like a door. The crowd, fat people, sweaty people, smelly people, bald people, and 2 teenage kids, lunged ahead. The moment the door opened, Amanda took Finn by the hand and tugged. They hurried out onto the dimly lit corridor leading to the doom buggies. "Run," Amanda whispered. "We have to hurry." She led him through an unmarked door immediately to the right. Finn found himself in a narrow, dimly lit corridor. Ghoulish sounds in the distance. Amanda ran, Finn following closely behind her. She proved herself a very fast runner. "It's almost as if she's flying," he thought. Seconds later, they headed through yet another door. Outside again, they were only a few yards from where they'd been sitting minutes earlier. The black hearse and the fast-pass line to the right. The entrance and exit was straight ahead. The air came alive with the sound of piped-in music and steady rumble of park guests talking. Amanda glanced back at the mansion. Her eyes went wide, and she knew they were in trouble. She practically pulled his arm off as she drew him into a small gift shop. They ducked behind a carousel of postcards. The 2 security guards hurried past, only seconds behind them. Finn stood behind Amanda, their arms touching. "They've gone," she said. "We lost them." Finn held up his father's camera. "Let's try to get a few more shots on our way out."